Okay, so a couple of things. Um, I started doing this bowl. I don't know if you remember it. It's a piece of red oak. It was a branch. It was probably a branch about like this, and I got like three pieces off it. It was working pretty good. So, couple of imperfections in this, and a hole there. But here's the thing. Okay, so you got this right here. It's a knot, right? So when I cut this, there was a knot right here. I cut the branch off or the knot that was there. So I've got to sand this with to just make this little ridge there a little bit softer of a ridge because that's what I want. But um, what I'm doing here is I'm showing people when you start doing a piece of wood, okay. Now, one of the things you got to find out. Now, this one's a little bit different, and it's kind of being difficult. Um, but what I'm doing here is I'm trying to do an offset turn. All right, so this is probably going to be because it sits at an angle. It's a different kind of wood. Um, I think it's a crabapple tree. So the thickness of the tree here is a little bit thicker here than it is here. So the idea was to go like this. Well, that's not working too good because I could turn it like this, so I'm going spindle to spindle. But the problem is here is I can't get until I get that down far enough. I can't do this to get it in there. So I might have to take and carve that out a little bit. But the point is, I was trying to do an offset turn, and it was kind of blurred up. I don't know what I'm doing. My offset turning is not working the way I want it. Okay, so the offset turning was on purpose because I've got a challenge that's coming up uh, in Hawaii. So one thing I wanted to show you is number of tools I use is sand. I like these. I like this one here, and I got another one, and it's even smaller. Works out great because you could get in here and I'll have to show you. One thing I'm notorious for is putting things where I don't need them. Okay, so when I'm doing this, I can go like this. And this will spin the spin meister in there. So that's a smaller one. A lot of times I use this. Oh, that was good. I'll use that for something on smaller projects. And this one is a really good one because it will do like this. And then you can do this. Now, two things you got to be aware of. My bark bowls, all right. One is, in order for me to make a bark bowl, or should I say create one, I want to leave this the way it is. So I really don't want to do this because I'm knocking bark off. Okay, so this is going to be really cool. It has moss on it. So what I'm going to do is when I go seal it, I'll seal it and it'll be sealed inside. I kind of like this. This look, a lot of people will say, well, get rid of it, whatever. No. So the reason I did this particular piece of wood this way is to get the look out of it. Hey, David, how you doing? I look forward to seeing you guys today. You and Rob and Bassman. Bossman. Anyway. This bark, now, it's kind of a different way of doing things. You guys, You guys should be turning. You know, what's funny is the other day I was working on the train room. The train room is over here, by the way, and I used this to make some parts for in there. And what's really kind of cool when I'm making models and these kits I get from Volmer, half the time they're missing parts. I've gone through and I looked anyway. So I've made my own parts. And I could use this. I've got the table saw. I have all these. I got a scroll saw. It works out great. So anyway, when I got this piece of wood, it was kind of like this. All right, and the idea here was to try and turn this with leaving the bark on there. Now, see, this is a little bit dirty. I sealed it, but see, here's the thing: imperfections, right? So, see, here's this, and it's oval shaped, right? So when you go to do any kind of turning, what do you want to do? Do you want to save the bowl? Do you want to save the bark? How do you want? How do you want how do you turn it into? Now, a lot of guys like to go this way. This is the pith, the center is the pith, and this is against the pith. The bigger piece of wood, I would probably go against the pith. But here's the thing: you want live edge, right? Well, a lot of the guys will turn it this way and then turn the bowl this way and leave you a rim around the outside with bark on it or the rough edges on it. That's how you do it. I, on the other hand, and I like bark, I like the live edges. But the problem is when you do that, you waste a lot of the wood. Whether you're doing it this way or the other way, you're still wasting a lot of wood. So my way, the highway. See, this is not. I look for stuff like this. If I was to turn this, is this top or bottom? See, the problem is if I turn it this way, then it's smaller, right? Dimension-wise, it's smaller. So you want to turn it this way. This would be the top, and this would be the bottom, right? There's a couple of ways to turn it that way, too. You want to use this. And what you do, the side that you're going to gouge out, the inside, you want to put that there like that. Why do you want to put it that way? Well, for one, the screws need to be in a spot that you're going to take out anyway. You don't want to put this in the bottom. The second thing is it creates a mortise or a tenon. And when I say mortise or tenon, okay, see, I mortised this one. So this is a mortise. And I have to take this off of. I started out spindle to spindle, but a tenon would be something like this, the little dimple on here. But this is basically a mortise. Okay, so you can make whatever you want, all right? I just like the little bit of a ridge on here. So that's the reason why I make that a mortise. If you want to make a tenon, so you make the tenon in here, but this goes on here. I don't know if I can get it off. Okay, so let's say I'm going to put this on here. This is what goes on here like this, all right? Same idea, all right? Same idea, but if you're going to put, like I said, if this is going to be the side that's going to be, this is the way it's supposed to be up. This could be inside. You're going to take this out, the center of this out. That's the way you want it. It's like that. Because, again, if you put it on the bottom, you get holes sticking out, right? So this, when you get a lathe, this is actually a mini lathe. It's supposed to stop right here, but I got the extension on so I could table legs, and baseball bats. I made my brother several baseball bats, so he's got one that's a hickory baseball bat. That thing it weighs like 10 pounds. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, my brother John is great. He played high school and college baseball. We got a scholarship to go to school on it. He was really good. Yeah, when we were growing up, I could never hit him. His fastball was faster than I could swing. Anyway, okay, so now back to this. So this is what they call a Barracuda 2. All right. So you could change this. You could change these teeth out. You could get bigger. This is as big as it'll get for this particular one. You could make there's smaller ones, and then there's a core that you could put in there. Although I never use the core because it's just, to me, it's too much of a hassle. So, okay, so we got this, right? I have to remember which way is which. I have to take and oil this thing. Okay, so there's one spot there, and there's another spot there. So we'll tighten that out, okay? And then never turn it on standing in front of it. It's kind of like a table saw. Don't stand in front of the table saw because you'll get a kickback. All right, see, that works. Safety first, always safety first. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here. Now, if I wanted to go bigger, go home, right? I've got this. Now, what this does, this makes it's about that much bigger, and it has these pieces on here. But here's the problem. So I did a mortise and not a tenon. For me to use this for this wouldn't work because it's an inside grab. This was actually an outside grab. So that's I don't want to do it for that anyway. But if I wanted to do this, I could. Or do I? See, the problem is this, again, if I put this on a straight piece like this, all it's going to do is go back and forth, right? Safety first. Well, guess what? You don't want to do it that way. So I'm back to the spindle to spindle, which is this auger here, doing this, basically. I kind of screwed up in doing this. I didn't think about it when I did it. So there you go. I watched a guy in Hawaii do it. It didn't turn out right. All right. I still have to watch the video. I videoed it too, so I don't know. Anyway, this was it's getting close to finishing. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. So there's a couple of things you want to do. I have a tack cloth. I wanted to show you this too. Tack cloths don't always get everything either. All right. So you got a tack cloth. This thing is all a mess. I have to straighten it out. But anyway, you go through this with a tack cloth, right? Yeah. Now, there's a couple of things that you got to do when you're getting ready to finish it. I'm just giving you an idea. Hang on a second. Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes people make is on their finish. Okay, so now you got the tack cloth, right? So we'll put this away. So what you want to do, and I found this out by accident one time. I was just fooling around. I got something on one of the things. I went to wipe it off, and guess what? I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I put the tack cloth on there. Look at it. Dust. You see that? Dust. Now, I'm fortunate that I have this stuff. I have an air hose, right? So all I'll do is go like this, and I'll go through and do like this. All right, see that? That's that gets 90% of it. Okay, so that works. Now, two things. All right, hang on a second. So, one thing I do is I learned my lesson in something a long time ago. I used to make furniture, and when you screw something up, you don't want to be responsible. Anyway, I take the finish, whatever finish I have, and I put it in here. Now, you never want to put it back in a container. Okay, this one's shot. I'm not going to use any more of this, but I'm using this. I can feel it. It's shot. Okay. That's the other thing. These things don't last that long, so I recommend using quart cans, or the pint cans, because these things are unless you use them all the time, sitting around for. I think this thing is probably about 8 months old or so. It's time to toss it. But I want to tell you, okay, what you want to do is take this stuff and pour it in. This is what I use. If this is your finish, you pour it in here, just enough that you can gauge how much you want to put in here. Okay, so then once you do that, then you can start dipping and going like this, right? Okay, so what I tend to do first, since this is the bark, I like to do this part and the backside before I do the bark. Bark is the last thing. Why? It's because if you start doing this and you're doing this, you're always going to have a rough finish in here. You're going to get particles from the bark in there. This is the difference between doing a straight bowl with no bark on it and one with bark on it. You got to be extra careful with the bark that's on there. So, bark bowl. Well, okay. I like to do birch bark bowls. They're actually not as bad as this. Okay, the birch ball, the bark on the birch is really kind of smooth, so you don't have a tendency to pull a lot of stuff out. So I call it the 3Bs, birch bark bowl. We're gonna do the 3Bs, the birch bark bowl, and so I'm gonna do an episode on that eventually. Okay, so class, hey class, do you get it? Okay, so here's what this is me being a goof. Now I have met a few people on here that are professional turners. Kelly Dunn for sure, and some other ones. I belong to 2 clubs in Windy City Turners here locally, but they're all professional people in there, and I'm the biggest goof. Okay, so yes, I'm learning from them, but at the same time, I like to have fun and goof around. Okay, first thing I'll tell you is I'm a big research on wood, and my background's in forestry, so I like to tell people everything there is to know about wood before you even start it. Which wood do you want to do? Hardwoods versus softwoods. Now, I make furniture, I make all kinds of oddball stuff. And I learned a long time ago, certain woods are good for turning, certain woods aren't. That one bowl I showed you just now, that one piece of wood, and when I go to turn that, it's because it's spalting. When I mean spalting, it's decaying. That's what all these marks are here. I don't know what kind of, I think this is a alder. Anyway, It makes good wood, but it's also very difficult to turn because it gets pitty, part marks and stuff. So I like to educate people when I'm doing stuff. I like to educate people on what I'm doing. And if you've never turned before, I just tell people get a couple of books, watch a couple of videos. Cindy Drozda is really good. Cindy Drozda is on here. She does a lot of good stuff. It's exotic stuff. If you're a beginner, you might want to hit her up. She does a lot of stuff to help other people get started in it. So, and Cindy's a great person to watch. Kelly does another one. But Kelly doesn't. He's got videos that he hadn't done one in a while, but still watches videos. I've met him in person. I saw him about 2 months ago in Hawaii, and it's his group, his club is in. I'm gonna join it. They're a great bunch of guys. I think there was like 30 people in there, and at the group at the time at this guy's house, and it's always a blast. It's outside, but it's I always learn from every group I go to. Doesn't have I mean, and some of the guys on here. Cindy, it gets a little bit exotic now. I belong to a group. It's called Windy City Turners, and they're based out of Naperville. And if you're interested, let me know, and I'll send you. If you look them up, they're also on here. They do a lot of videos. It's called Windy City Turners, and it's based in Naperville. Okay, and they're really good. A lot of the guys on there like to do exotic stuff, and it's nice. I like doing it. I'm learning how to do a lot of it. There's a lot of different techniques that everybody does, and they'll bend over backwards to help you. So. And I'll do the same thing. And in my crazy way of doing stuff, I'm a little bit loose net with what I'm doing. Am I professional? I don't know. I just turn. I just turn. I make sawdust. That's what I tell people. And in some cases, I say depends on the tools. I get in an argument with this every once in a while with professionals. Some of the tools that you use, it's actually good starting point. Okay. Here's the one I notoriously talk about. This is the gouging tool, the bowl gouging tool. But this is a big but. These are different points on here. This is a 55 degree bottom. You would use this in certain ways. Now, there's different ones. There's some that are more oblong, that are this way. There's some that might have, instead of having both equal here, this whole thing might be longer back here, elongated more, that instead of a sharp point right there. It just depends on what type of gouging you do. Now, I don't use this as much. Why? 2 reasons. I totally suck at sharpening. I have to have somebody else sharpening. I've got the sharpening tool here, a jig to do it, but I've never done it right. So that's one reason. Okay, but one of the main reasons is this. No, maybe this is my lazy way of saying, get carbide tools. It'll save you some time. It's only about $20 for the tip, and it'll last you a lifetime. You get 2. I think you get 2. Well, the last time I got 2 of these in a package for $15-20 or something. I forget. I don't remember. But it'll save you a grief. To get the gout, you'd have to have a grinder. Then you have to have the jig for the grinder. By the time you're through, like $200 in a hole. This is only $20. Aha! Right? And then there's the hook. And there's the other hook. I gotta make these holes bigger, and the other hook. I got 3 there, right? Well, I'm not done yet. Okay? I got this one. CI2. square, right? Let's see, I have 4. This one I use a lot. I use this one a lot. Between that gouging tool and that, I use that a lot. Again, the difference is this could be switched too. Same thing with the gouging tool, rough gouging tool. You could move this thing around. All it is a small Allen wrench, hex wrench. It works. Anyway, I'm gonna get off. I want to do some more sanding, and I figured, well, and this is a part I get down to nitty gritty. This part right here, I'm gonna take a belt sander. Maybe, I don't know if any of you guys know what belt sander is. It's underneath. They take a belt sander and smooth this down, and the rest of it is just sanding, hand sanding this, because I don't want to damage any of this stuff. The idea for me was to save the bark. Save the bark. It sounds like I'm going up from some environmental issue, right? Save the bark, save the bark. I look forward to, thank you, Dave. I look forward to seeing you guys this afternoon. So hopefully this thing will turn out like my other one. Okay, so I had the wife come down. All right, the wife came down. She looked at this, and she goes, there's an imperfection right there. You see that, right? Okay, there's also one right, where is it? Right there. See it? So I go, what do I do with this? I mean, there's a couple of things I could do, but do I cover it up or do I leave it? I think I'm just going to leave it. She said, just leave it. Okay, so I have a couple of shows coming up. Let's see, April. Next month, starts the spring thing all the way until October. So I'll be doing, once a month, I'll be doing an art show in Batavia, Illinois. And it's always the third Saturday in Batavia. I'll post it. In case you're local, you can come see it. But anyway, Batavia is the next town south of me. Where I go, it's like 5 miles, maybe, so I don't have to go very far. But I'm going to leave that there the way it is, and I'm going to leave this the way it is. And I figure by halfway through the summer, if I haven't sold this, the one thing I'll do first is fill that in. And I could use that Gorilla Glue. What I do is I put tape on the bottom of this, seal it, and I put Gorilla Glue in there and let that glue settle for a day or two. And, it's just going to be clear, but I can hide it. I could probably take sawdust. That's the other thing for you. You can take some sawdust, right? And I said, here's the other thing. I save sawdust. I'll save the sawdust for my job on purpose. I'll have a little cup like what I had in it earlier, and I'll fill it with sawdust and keep it. And then if there's any imperfection, project that I'm working on, until I get that project done, it hangs around here. Then once the project done, if I don't think of it anymore, I toss it. It's not a big deal. But it's like putty. You can actually, if you experiment with some of these glues, you can make your own kind of version of a resin. I'll show you this. Hang on. Stay there. Okay, so this is my version. See it? The hole went through right there. And then this is the same kind of wood. All right. So, and then I did this turquoise crap in there, and that's from my resin stuff. But I got to finish this a little bit more. I used what they use on butcher blocks, except it's a lemon, an orange type thing. on this, and it works really good. So now I did put a finish on it because I wanted to. That's what I had on it. That's what my finish is. I didn't put like a varnish on it because of that. If you're gonna put any kind of food in stuff, it's kind of like butcher block. It's made for food. It's food safe. So I did that. You could put oranges, apples in here, and chips if you want. But yeah, and that was out of the same piece this was. It's the same kind of wood. Now it did make it darker, so you have to get a finish if you want to keep it as light as possible. You have to get a finish that's gonna enhance that and keep it as light as possible. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to do. I have yet to find a really good finish that's going to keep it as light as it is. So I have experimented with sanding sealer, but I don't want to do it in this. It's too much of a pain with all this bark on here. So anyway, that's pretty much my latest one. That was the last one I finished, actually. Now, I don't know if I'll be on the train one later because I'm doing some major work on there, but questions or comments with you guys are always welcome. And I'm always making sawdust in here, and I love responses from you. So please leave a message and let me know what you think. I'm asking to see if you guys would want me to keep going on this. Like my train one, I always tell people to check out my subscribers. It's always good to see who's on here and go subscribe. David Markey, you have to go see him. What they do, Rob Bassman and him, they're always busy doing something. Rimmer, basically beer. Those guys are a crack up. UK guys are on all the time. I love them. If I'll tell you what, if you got to watch them, then it makes you want to grab a beverage and go join them. Wish I could jump through the screen and go with them. Anyway, check everybody out, and I wish you guys a happy Thursday. I'm thirsty, and I'm gonna go get something to drink and eat, and I'll be on soon. Thanks for watching me. Yeah, and again, remember, check everybody else's channel out. God bless. Have a great time. Bye.